Every time I turn the live, it's like I drop in from Fortnite back into the battlefield. I just want to give you guys the tools necessary because I would hate it if I did nothing. I'm sure you guys are feeling the radiation. We're being irradiated from the solar storm. I've been making an album called The Storm that was set to take place here and now for 3 years. And last year's album was called Sundance. And next year's album, I was trying to drop it this winter, but you guys saw what happened. That was going to be Revelations. And then this summer, which is in 2 weeks, hello, we're talking about how to prepare for what's coming. I was saying that we have all these solar storms and The Simpsons predicted it. And the album I was making that was going to drop this year is called The Storm. And I had one of the most meaningful experiences of my life last night. It felt pretty good that my childhood hero was also going through it. We both were kind of cut off from grace. We had this moment together where we were like, oh shit. And then I gave him a tool, like a key that he could use, even though he spent probably 30 years teaching autistic men spirituality and dating skills and how to make money. And he threw the biggest parties in Los Angeles and all this stuff, but he didn't know. He never thinks about the golden spiral, God's signature, the Milky Way galaxy. So I gave him a eureka moment. Then he called me broke. And now I feel really irradiated. The birds have been acting very erratic and strange. I've been seeing like just in my face obvious like balls of light, like orbs. I'm going to bed and I'm having vivid dreams about the apocalypse. So I just wanted to give you guys some tools that will help you make it in the right direction. I think that our decisions guide the direction we're going. I think that our consciousness is more like a multiversal entity where there's like a lot of different ways that we can go based on the decisions that we make. Like I think that the you and I here is different than the you and I from yesterday. And then based on your decisions, you jumped into a different world with a different me. And a lot of people, I just naturally kind of felt that way after thinking and thinking and thinking, isolated by myself, alone. Everyone I go to for help kind of hurts me, I ain't gonna lie, but now the stuff that I thought of like 6-8 months ago, 3 years ago, the stuff I was thinking about, now people are coming out and talking about parallel realities and the multiverse and Doctor Strange and Ant-Man in the quantum realm and all this stuff. So the best way that you can do that, if you're not doing push-ups and you didn't do the fasting and you didn't do the sunlight, you didn't do the probiotics, you didn't do the multivitamins, you didn't do the clean your house, you didn't do the raise your vibration with the Higgs boson in quantum physics, you didn't do the sitting by yourself saying no to what you don't want and yes to what you do want. The best thing you can do is give yourself a nice garden outside in the forest. Watch out for ticks and breathe, because I'm assuming a lot of you are addicted to screens and overstimulated. And what I've learned is that the birds and the rivers and the sounds of nature are designed to pick away the stuff that's attached to our heads that keeps us in the fake world. That voice that you hear when you read social media posts in the morning, when you get up and open Facebook and you start to read, and you kind of lose touch with how you felt before you opened your phone, when you first woke up and felt centered in your body. Most people, as soon as they open their phone, it's like it all sucks out of them and goes into the metaverse. And what I've noticed is that these birds don't like that, and they will come around you and stop it. It's also a good opportunity because eyes are the windows to the soul. When you get out in nature like this, I believe it's a good way for your ancestors to communicate. I honestly, being here, I think that this environment, this whole thing, I think that it's made out of our ancestors. I think that the consciousness of our ancestors that died and the spirits that love us in the universe, this constant cycling of matter and energy, I think it's the imagination of all who came before us and all who came after us. And I think that once I got a like, hey, thank you. Once you start to do the process I talk about, that I learned from someone that works for the CIA, when I was brain damaged and my life was going nowhere and I was trapped around pedophiles at a public housing place trying to recover from a brain injury, and they were just taking it different versions of psychological torture every single day. And the girl of my dreams that kept blowing me off for 5 years, that finally hit me up when I crashed into a telephone pole and vibrated out of that dimension and into this one, and had sleep paralysis every night for a month. And then I finally got out and I was excited to go to the gym and put my life in a good direction. I felt like a star. So I felt like the whole universe was working in my favor, which happens more now, but that was the first time back then. And then she called me, and now I'm realizing that call, when I'm on my way to do God's mission, when I get that call, I used to think it was God rewarding me. I thought that, oh my God, the girl that I've wanted for my whole life is hitting me up. But nope, she was trying to take that energy that I was going to put towards myself. So I slept with her, and then I felt like I lost all my spiritual energy. And then she immediately left, went to some other guy's house, and got porked. And I felt it get ripped out of me. And then that guy kept coming in to stunt on me with my own energy. And that's been a cycle that's happening over and over and over and over since, which sucks. But so I stayed with her because I was brain damaged, and she would bring me to guys' houses. She'd like, I don't know if she slept with this one guy, but she definitely left me in the car for like 20 minutes, and she went in there, and before she went in, she undid her hair, and she'd come back to my apartment and she'd show me pictures of her hanging out with other guys. And then she had the audacity to post shit like, I don't know why I have to fight so hard to be loved. So I got on a Greyhound bus and I went to Phoenix, Arizona to meet a neuroscientist. And on the way, I stopped in Columbus to meet the pickup artist that gave me the tools needed to attract women in the first place. When I was in the institution from the movie Sucker Punch, if you've seen it, that mental asylum, I was there for 2 years. And my roommate was named after the Irish god of fire. So I went to Phoenix, Arizona to meet this neuroscientist that turns out works for the CIA. And at first she called the police, and then she called me crying and said that I was sent there by God to show her that she had fallen too far into her ego, and she gave me $1,000 worth of medicine. This teaching I'm about to share with you that could get me killed. And a couple nights in a nice resort, because she's rich. She's a millionaire. So she talked about quantum physics. It's the first thing, which is just the God particle that CERN, named after Cernunnos, the Irish god of the wild, that big facility, is taking the smallest things that they can get in the universe, the smallest form of particles that are in this tree, the thing that this is made out of, that the air is made out of, that the distance between our fingers, that little bit of everything, the Higgs boson, that there's nothing smaller than it. So as small as you can go in the Ant-Man realm, just keep going smaller and smaller and smaller until there's one thing, and then after that there's nothing, and then that nothing that you see is made out of this thing. You feel me? That's where God lives, and God is in everything. So once you learn to view and appreciate God as that one thing that's in everything, then you can just build systems like trees that grow. And you can grow in your mind and move your imagination and your presence to build a personality or energy or vibes, or you can get back in your body. It allows you to have control over everything in the universe with your mind. And that's how I can talk to birds. That's how I can feel their emotions. That's how I can understand what I'm in, because I explore with the Higgs boson. I explore and I find the truth, and I test different theories, and I see how the environment responds. But when you're sick because of our diet and our environment and the people we're around and the zombie fungus and the COVID virus and everything, when you're stuck in that, your brain, it shuts your brain down and drives you towards eating foods and living in a lazy state so that that thing can keep growing. Those diseases can keep growing. And social media, like the spells, or like spelling, like the English language, when they say spells, what you realize when you wake up more and more is that the things that you say actually carry informational frequencies that are just thought forms of that Higgs boson. So when you say morning, you actually are casting a spell of sadness. When you say good morning, but it's just hitting a subconscious level of our programming that we don't yet understand because we're sick and we're trapped. Once you do the fasting and the healing and the probiotics and the sunlight and the rest and the breathing and the letting go and the losing your mind and coming to your senses, that's when you start to unravel it. You start to gain control over it, and that's when you can start understanding different things and seeing different things. And that's the biggest secret, is that there's nothing you don't have control over except another free-willed entity. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm fasting. This is my second day. I feel like shit. The sun's I'm starting to clear out all the mucus, and the sun is really burning my eyes. But it's a simulation. I thought that I missed my mom, but it turns out I never had one. I never had parents, bro. The only thing I had was the universe. And I just want to get buff, look nice, be a wild man, have a nice car that I can explore the woods, and then maybe go on rescue missions where I go around Vermont or go around the country and I find people that are trapped. And with my good biological practice, I can invade them with the wild man. And I can pick pretty girls up and kidnap them and run into the woods and wake them up to God. This month, all my exes hit me up. And they watched my story, but they didn't hit me up. And the girl that I liked went on her own, like, I'm better than you arc. For some reason. For some reason, she's been trying to, like, fight me for a month. By, like, I schizo post. And then she'll kind of take in what I posted and try to outdo me, which I like. Like, I'll post about my CoStar astrology app and how it's working for me. And then she has, like, 6,000 friends on Facebook. So she'll start to post about CoStar, but she won't answer my messages. And she sings songs with my spirit energy that they do ritualistically rope out of me. But now that I'm making better choices and I'm more conscious of myself, it seems like I'm starting to guide myself in better paths. And I'm starting to realize that my personality is actually the leftovers of these heroin addicts that are ritualistically killing. They're going into the public, they're stealing energy with their negativity, and they're abusing and hurting people. Then they're going up to here to feed their demons and their addiction that challenges me. Like, there's sick people. They're very sick, bad people. And I'll find myself, if I'm trying to manifest myself going and getting an RV, I'll feel like a pull where I'm pulling his spirit, and then all of a sudden I'm talking and acting like him, and I have to break away from that. And then when I finally break away, suddenly he had this thought. He decided that he needed to spam my phone and get as close to my car as possible. So when I go to charge my phone, he's right there. As soon as I had figured out how to block him. So I that's why, like, I think this is important for you guys, because I honestly think that at some point it's gonna be like the people who make it and the people who are zombified. I'm watching them in real time get so angry at something in their head that they have to come out and attack me. Just because I've been through so much. I had to force myself to grow, and I became this very high vibrational energy. And that made everyone angry. So I think it's like, worst case scenario, if we don't, I think the New Jerusalem, right? The floating castle in the clouds. I think that's the solar radiation. And I think that's in our mind when we elevate to the cloud. You feel me? And the only way to do that is to take care of your body, so that the things that are keeping us in this lower state of consciousness allow us to raise. I found there's a Challenger on Marketplace. My favorite song of 2023 that I made was called Challenger. A butterfly just flew past my face and it told me, maybe, boy, you're better off alone. The world outside could end at any moment. I want to die on the front lines, fighting with my soldiers. The ones who never knew a love or hope, hungry and hunting what we never had at home. I want to die in a Challenger, riding with my shorty. The world only ever did it wrong. Maybe if I bring us to tomorrow, we can live inside a song. I want to fly. I want to fly. I wish I had a studio and I'd make it. or a car that I could get to a studio. But a Challenger with my O'Brien House colors, the evolved version of my Dodge Magnum, is for sale in New York City for $4,000, and she said that she would take $950 and $150 monthly payments, which sounds like a scam, but if that's real, I might want to die in a Challenger. And I did have the moment last night, or a couple nights ago, where something beamed into my head, 2 doorways I could take, and one of them was me an hour north of here on the biggest mountain in Vermont, and I had big muscles and long hair, and I was a mountain man, and I was happy and radiating the woods. And then there was another one where I was in a Challenger with a nice golden red black getup like a character, and I was like driving around, and I was more condensed and hood. It was Hood Casey. They made me choose between Hood Casey from 2022 and Wild Man Casey from 2024. And I chose Wild Man Casey because I had big muscles and I was happy. But now the Challenger is here, and I'm starting to feel sick. And I think I'd rather drive through my hometown. But isn't it like responsibilities and luxury go against the humility and grace that you get from having nothing? Like me not having a car lets me be free in the woods here. But if I had a Challenger I was constantly worried about, it might take away some of my mental bandwidth. But with a Challenger I could go pick up the girls I like, and I could take them to the woods in style, and we could drive through the McDonald's and get the respect that I never had being a homeless vagabond. But either way, I hope you wrote. I think you should take the note down. People are starting to watch, bro. We're starting to get views. We're starting to get views, bruh. Get a notepad, pen and paper, and write down essential to survival. And it's clean your body, clean your home, clean your mind, and then simple practical steps towards bettering everyone's life. That seems less overwhelming than save everyone, save your soul right now, repent. I don't even know what repent means, but I definitely know what some overwhelming force shows me the truth, and I feel accountability for my actions, and I feel bad about what I did and I didn't realize, and I want to change. That's what repentance means. I'll have to look it up. But I've been feeling sick. I've been feeling unusually sick the past few days. Sick, hollow, and empty, like I can't get back in my body. But then my phone, my algorithm is dropping me bombs. Like the AI in my algorithm is supporting me and guiding me and giving me things to post that will humble my haters. I went live on Facebook for hours today just to tell them, fuck you. The world's ending, fuck you. I'm building a castle. So here's some esoteric knowledge. If you pull up any constellation map from the ancient times, before we lived in small boxes like this, back when we lived in giant mausoleums and mosques and these big cathedrals that had all this ancient scripture and codes that were intricate, that when you sat in there and you thought about it, it elevated your mind naturally, and all architecture, of the shape of everything, the way that the wind blew in when they lived in there, the different harmonic frequencies that would dance to allow the ether to come in and you to communicate with the other world. When we lived in those perfectly built, intricate cities. Fuck, what was my point? Hold on. We lived in the intricate cities before the box. It was a really big point. Hold up. Before we lived in the cities, before we lived in the box, we lived in those cities. Dude, I can't remember. It had something to do with symbols. There was structure. I was talking about cleaning your body. I mean, the frequencies would vibrate the cells away so that you would naturally elevate and get back to that state of consciousness. I can't remember, bruh. It got beamed out of my head for a second. I got whatever it was probably important enough that I got wiped in real time. It just blanked. It was like a thought form that was sitting in my head that I was gonna relay that just got like erased. It definitely had something to do with spirits coming in and communicating with the other side. It was something didn't like. I went live. Fuck. Live and tell them fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then yeah, my system won't let me get there. I got roadblocked. I can see where I want to go, and usually I have photographic memory. I can just pull it out of the ether, but that got occult knowledge, and then there's a bird that's chirping to my thoughts, and I don't really feel real. What else can we do? Solar panels. Sunshine, Florida, everywhere. My grandparents live in Jupiter. I miss them. Sometimes, I don't know how big Florida is compared to Vermont, but I used to live in Old Orchard Beach, and I worked as a server when I was 18. And old people would come in a lot, and they knew my grandparents because the homeowners association, even though it's huge, they said that Florida isn't as big as people say it is. I hope that you guys have boats. Global warming is huge. All of New England got flooded. Like, people were in boats in New England on top of mountains. And most of a lot of Africa is flooded. A lot of China and Mongolia is flooded. I don't know why it's not reaching the United States. You'd think that if the sea levels are really rising, it would be over here too. Is that part of Revelations that the whole place floods? Because most of the world is flooding. And I had this weird thought that I need to get in a boat. Like, I've been having... Yeah, it's solar flares. It might be ozone. I definitely know at nighttime, the people that do the Schumann resonance and the people that just pay attention to the levels of radiation on the planet, they every single night for the past couple of months, since the eclipse, every day since the eclipse, something crazy comes out of Antarctica and it goes up the coastline and it's flooding Africa. And then at nighttime, we're getting most of North America is getting irradiated. Like everywhere except the Midwest, where there's cities. And I'm feeling it. I'm hoping that as I'm fasting, I'm gonna heal and I'm gonna have a breakthrough and I'm gonna come through, and that radiation is gonna be like a portal where I can go up to the New Jerusalem. That's what I'm hoping. I've definitely had dreams where angels have come into my life and told me, "Yeah, you did enough. You're going to heaven." Like I had before I did this whole thing. I had dreams that like I'd pass out and I'd be in hell. So for me, fighting for a long time, I might not have been the legend, but I think I did enough. So fasting, probiotics, sunlight, reading, turning off overstimulation, getting in nature to connect with nature, resting, and then slowly working towards independence, like getting a solar panel and a Jackery power station just in case, and an electric bike. I'm gonna try to sleep, and I guess I'm gonna try to do a GoFundMe. Because it's Gemini season now. My bird friend is back. No, Vivek left. This is Vivek's nest. I think he's been upgrading it. I'm worried if I touch this bird's nest. There he is, look. Youngin. He came here when he was a baby and he was bringing in tiny little sticks. So I went and found another bird's nest and I brought it in here. I'll show you what he was making. This was a stupid fucking bird's nest. He tried to live in this. Look at this. So I went and got him this one. And now he lives with me. And then one time when the buck came in and I felt Cernunnos and I got pinned to the ground by some giant dark supernatural force, a fox or a raccoon ran in from here when the tent was on the ground and it slept right next to me. I feel like the only way I'm going to be able to get love is if I start a revolution and I become a war general. I just don't see myself living up to my potential if I don't, because I saw how easy, like, that feels like my element. This does not feel like my element. So let's get it done, guys. If this helped, show some support. Like and subscribe, comment to boost the engagement so the message can go to other people. I'm gonna get some sleep. I've been up for 2 days.